From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the daily news for February 2nd, 2026. These are the stories we are covering at this hour. A grim new report documents over 1,000 attacks on LGBTQ plus people in the United States in 2025 following Donald Trump's inauguration in January. The report from Alert Desk, GLAAD's anti-LGBTQ extremism reporting tracker, catalogs 1,042 anti-LGBTQ plus incidents in 47 states and Washington, D.C. in 2025. That's a 5% increase over 984 incidents in 2024. The incidents included 128 acts of vandalism, 76 assaults, 22 threats of mass violence, and 15 arson attempts. Over half of the incidents targeted transgender and other gender non-conforming individuals, a 10% increase from 2024. The report calls 2025 one of the most dangerous years on record for LGBTQ Americans. Americans should refuse to accept a country where our neighbors fear for their safety, GLAAD President and CEO Sarah Kate Ellis said in a statement. With the Alert Desk data showing an increase in violence against LGBTQ people, especially transgender Americans, we must join together in a united call against the violence and harassment that too many LGBTQ Americans face. Pride festivals, some of the most public displays of LGBTQ plus identity, were also the sites of dramatic increases in threats and violence. Turning to other news, the Trump administration is quietly advancing immigration policies that attorneys and LGBTQ plus advocates say could send asylum seekers to their deaths, including by transferring queer and transgender people to countries such as Uganda and Iran, where same-sex relationships and gender nonconformity are criminalized and can be punished by imprisonment, torture, or execution. Through third-country transfer agreements and aggressive deportation tactics, the administration is placing LGBTQ plus asylum seekers, many with what lawyers describe as strong, well-documented claims, at risk. Advocates tell The Advocate the policies mark a dangerous shift away from the United States' long-standing obligation to protect people fleeing persecution based on who they are. Becca Wolf, an attorney with the American Immigration Council who represents LGBTQ plus asylum seekers from multiple countries, said her organization has identified a troubling pattern across immigration courts nationwide. These are not isolated cases, Wolf told The Advocate, because the council receives referrals from across the country, she said. It can see that similar outcomes are emerging regardless of jurisdiction. Turning to Pennsylvania news, a judge ordered a Pennsylvania man to serve 2 life sentences in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of his wife and her elderly aunt after a domestic dispute over cooking turned fatal. Last October, Santiago Payano-Sanchez and his wife Ana Gutierrez-Cedano got into a senseless verbal fight over who would cook dinner, according to Assistant District Attorney Jessica Colo. The altercation turned violent when Payano-Sanchez, age 64, took out a gun and shot Gutierrez-Cedano, age 59, who was in a wheelchair at the time. Following the initial attack, Payano-Sanchez's adult son attempted to take the gun away from his father, but he was shot in the stomach sometime during the scuffle. Payano-Sanchez then went upstairs and killed his wife's 74-year-old aunt, Dominga Cedano-Cedano. While Payano-Sanchez's son, age 33, who was not publicly named in the press release from the Lancaster County District Attorney's Office, survived the shooting, his wife and her aunt both died at the scene before emergency services could arrive and provide life-saving measures. 2 children, who were reportedly 2 years old and 7 years old at the time of the incident, were also in the home during the attack, but they were physically unharmed. A Washington County man finds himself behind bars as of this weekend as a result of a multi-state drug investigation. According to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, a 4-month-long investigation focused on stopping the distribution of several different kinds of drugs, including heroin, cocaine, and crack cocaine across portions of western Pennsylvania and Ohio. As a result of the investigation, 53-year-old Archie Orison was taken into custody during a traffic stop on State Route 18 in Burgettstown. When he was stopped, police said he was in possession of crack cocaine. Orison is now being housed in the Washington County Correctional Facility. Meanwhile, after Orison was taken into custody, the Jefferson County Drug Task Force in Ohio executed a search warrant at a home in Steubenville. As a result, another person was taken into custody after being found in possession of cocaine, crack cocaine, and more than $15,000 in cash. The Washington County Sheriff's Office said that additional charges are pending against Orison, and additional arrests could follow as a result of the investigation. And that's the news at this hour. If you are watching our news videos on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. We cover news on the PEP Radio channel from 12 noon to 3 a.m. 7 days a week. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, and Alexa. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.